So, my trip to Russia, step 1. This is the hotel room that I'm staying in at London Heathrow, Terminal 4. My flight's actually from Terminal 5, but the only hotels at Terminal 5 cost something like £200 a night. And because my flight tomorrow morning on Monday is at 9:20 in the morning, given the time it's going to take to check in my baggage and so on, clear customs and security, there's just no way public transport was going to get me here in time if I left it until Monday morning. So I pretty much have to stay in a hotel overnight at Heathrow. I've stayed in one of these hotels before. This is called the Yotel. Let's have a look around. This won't take long. So, yep, there's my luggage. I'm actually busy charging the camera at the moment. That's the bed. I love these hotels. They're based on or inspired by the Japanese capsule hotel concept. That's about twice or more the size of a bunk on a British warship. So that's a luxury compared to what I'm used to. That's the bed. There's the mirror. And this is the bathroom. And that's it. This, £62 a night. Yeah, that's it. That's the room. You couldn't swing a cat in here. I do like these little hotels though. The whole place is done up like a space station. The corridor outside, everything. It looks like you're wandering around the International Space Station. I like the concept. But £62 a night for one night. Now bear that in mind when you see the hotel I'm going to be staying at in Russia for the final day of my visit. And wait until you find out how much that's going to cost. Okay. But for now I'm heading back upstairs to the terminal. I'm going to have to be up at 6 in the morning to catch the shuttle to Terminal 5, which is where I'm actually flying from, to book into the British Airways flight that's going to actually take me to Saint Petersburg. My return flight is going to be via Aeroflot, and that's happening on Friday. So between now and then, all kind of things can go wrong. Anyway, that's it for now. Well, I made it. I'm in Russia. Or, well, you know, I was when I filmed this. And I made it without anything going disastrously wrong. Well, without anything going disastrously wrong to me. There were plenty of things that went disastrously wrong, but I seem to get away with it. And I think I've noticed a pattern emerging here. Because nothing went wrong when I went to Paris the other week either. And the one single common factor to both the Saint Petersburg and the Paris trips was that I didn't go with Rita. I'm starting to see a pattern emerging here. No wallets got washed, nobody fell asleep on trains and ended up at the wrong station 100 miles away from where we were supposed to be. Nobody missed any flights. Everything went right. So, Rita, you're a bloody jinx. That's what it is. Although, again, you know, I should hasten to add, it wasn't that nothing went wrong. The Jingles effect was very much still in force, but the Jingles effect only happens to me when I'm going somewhere with Rita. If she's not there, the Jingles effect happens to other people. More on that later. Well, anyway, you could be forgiven, just from looking at the background footage, that I was in Saint Petersburg on some kind of holiday. That wasn't the case. This was technically a business trip. I was there to attend the first global World of Warships Community Contributors Summit, and I do mean global. Wargaming St. Petersburg were flying in people from all around the world. Some of them you may have heard of, some of them you may not. In attendance there were the Swedes, there was the occasional Englishman, there were Frenchmen, there were more than a few of the Germans, there were people from Korea, people from Japan, lots of Russians obviously, plenty of Americans. We had people from Estonia, one very confused young lady who just couldn't make her mind up. She was born in England, moved to Australia, and now lives in America. And we have one very unfortunate Indonesian, whom some of you may know, and more on him later. But to begin with, we're just going to get all the meat and bones of why we were in St. Petersburg out of the way, and then we'll get on to the fun stuff. So, to begin with, and if you've been paying attention to the World of Warships developers blog, you may already be aware of some of these changes, but these are all coming relatively soon. New anti-abuse system designed to punish friendly fire, AFKers, and people who quit out of battles. At the moment, the current system is that providing you're a good boy or girl, there are no restrictions, but as soon as you start inflicting damage on your teammates, going AFK, or quitting out of battles, you'll receive a warning and your name will turn pink. Any further incidences of friendly fire and the damage will start to be reflected back on you. But they're going to take that one step further. If you persist in being an arsehole, your name will turn orange. Once that happens, you will be banned from taking part in any game modes other than clan battles, training rooms, and co-op against bots. You won't be able to take part in ranked battles, you won't be able to play random battles, and you won't be able to play PvE operations until you've proven you can be a good boy or girl. They also announced the 9th season of ranked battles, and it's going to be a little bit different to what you may have previously encountered. To begin with, from ranks 23 to 11, it will be tier 8, but from ranks 10 to 2, it's going to be tier 10, and finally at rank 1, back down to tier 8 again. I have to admit, when I first saw this, I was a little concerned that it was going to be a bit too exclusive. I mean, not everybody has a tier 10 ship. But we were assured that of the people who do participate in ranked battles and actually make it to rank 10, more than 99% of them do actually own tier 10 ships. So, well, you know, there's that. Next up, to go with the American cruiser split, they're also introducing a brand new American arc consisting of a new collection with a brand new American special captain, Admiral William Bull Halsey. You'll be able to earn Admiral Halsey as an American captain in exactly the same way that you would earn Jack Dunkirk for the British or Isoroku Yamamoto for the Japanese, although they were quite tight-lipped about what kind of special buffs and bonuses he would bring, although I wouldn't be at all surprised to find that any American battleships get a 50% speed buff if Captain Halsey is in command and a Japanese aircraft carrier is spotted. Also, as part of this new American collection, you're going to be able to unlock new skins and models for your American ships that contain more freedom than any one captain can possibly handle. Everybody also got more than a little excited at the news of a new PvE operation. Well, not everybody got excited at the news of a new PvE operation, but one of the features of this new PvE operation was that the battle was going to take place mostly at night. So that did get people quite excited. And if they can make it work successfully in a PvE operation, there's absolutely no reason why we can't see night battles at some point in the future in random, ranked, and clan battles as well. Meanwhile, for those of you who are looking at the Japanese destroyer lines and wondering why one of the lines goes all the way to tier 10 and the other one stops at tier 8 with the Akazuki, well, wonder no more. They're going to finish the Akazuki line off with the addition of a brand new tier 9 and 10 Japanese gunboat-style destroyer. These ships will be the Kitakaze at tier 9 and the Harugumo at tier 10. And we don't really know an awful lot about these ships at the moment, other than, well, if you like the Akazuki, you're probably going to like these as well. Once the initial presentation was over, we got to do something that I don't think any of us had been expecting. The development team split us all up into 4 groups, gave us a whiteboard and some markers and said, away you go, everybody's got to design their own map. Since we had Feminelli on our team, she decided that we were going to be called Team CV's Rule No Bias OK. And the basis for our map design was we wanted to basically make it as hard as possible for battleships who were determined to camp the map border. And we figured that the way to do that best was, if you can't make the battleships go to the battle, make the battle come to the battleships. And so, as you can see from our map design, we put 4 capture points, each in the corner of the map. So it pretty much doesn't matter where a battleship tries to hide, at some point the battle's going to be coming towards them. I should probably explain a little bit more about the nature of the map design that we've come up with here. And bear in mind, this was just a map that we threw together in 25 minutes. It's not going to be perfect. But you'll notice that in each of the cap circles there are 2 islands, and certain sections of these islands have been coloured in red. Now, this was to indicate that these were areas of high cover. These were large islands that you couldn't fire over, you couldn't see through, but if you were hiding behind one of these large islands, you would at least be able to cap or contest the cap, even if you weren't going to be able to spot anything on the other side of the island. And this was quite deliberate. It was designed to encourage people in battleships and cruisers to also get into the cap circles and do something useful. even Russian destroyers, which you don't typically find contesting cap circles because they have such large surface detection areas. At the same time, when you're sitting behind these areas of high cover, you're still not going to actually be able to see or shoot over them. So there was still space on these maps for the more stealthy ships to be able to slip through the gaps and actually not just cap, but also spot whatever was capping from the other side on the enemy team. Now, what's important to remember here is those highlighted red areas of the islands protruding into the cap circles. We stressed to the developers that these were areas of high cover that you couldn't shoot over and you couldn't see through. Our map design won, by the way, and we were very, very surprised when we turned up the next day to find that the developers had not been idle overnight. They turned our design into an actual map, and we were going to get to play it. But those areas of high island cover that I've been stressing up until now, turns out the development team have a very warped and twisted sense of humour.
Introducing Volga the Viking.
CA, stay away.
The hell? We said. I know. We said we wanted. I know we said we wanted high ground, but we didn't mean high as in on drugs.
We must take the ring to Mordor!
Oh God, no. Best dad joke ever. Why does Volga the Viking play the Grosse Kurfürst? Because it's a long boat.
Oh my God. That was terrible.
Maybe he wants to voice that too.
Oh God.
It sounds like I loaded this down with the cheesiest build and I have gone in and everything on.
Hi, are you streaming? Can I join? Yeah, zoom in on chat there.
He's still AFK.
Wow.
This is fine.
But wait, are we having... The game's like 2 minutes old and battleships are fighting battleships at ranges of less than 5 kilometers.
How did this happen?
Working as intended.
Yeah, well, he's kind of by himself. Just rambling.
He's a Viking.
Yeah, he is a Viking.
No, don't go for that one. Ignore that one. Like this one is. Ram it. This is bad.
Oh. And now we move to our next competitor. Volgar has gone to Valhalla. And now we're with Kalorn of the World of Warships podcast. Oh, he's experiencing the... Captain Aya is experiencing the joys of the Hindenburg for the first time.
You can see where your torpedoes are next to you.
I'm experiencing the joys of hitting stuff.
For the first time.
Yeah, that's so
Uh-oh. Oh.
Right in the circle. I couldn't get my secondaries to work. I probably set it up wrong.
Oh. Oh. Deep water torps. Oh. All the torps. Uchu Senkan Yamato.
4 pounds, 17K.
I believe there may be a destroyer. I believe it. Oh, no, actually, that's a Minotaur. Yeah, that's a Minotaur. Oh, he dead.
Or maybe Minotaur.
It's a Minotaur. It's firing AP.
Can you kill him?
It's firing AP at that rate. It ain't a Z52.
Oh, this is
No,
a build
it's-
with all the
He dead.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off.
It's a long shot, but it might just work. I think. Oh! And now we move to player 3. Oh, no, player 3's fucked as well. Okay. And suddenly a wild Notzer appears.
Yeah. I'm good. 2 enemies on.
And one of them's isolate.
Has he found the beach yet?
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Oh, I'm dead.
He dead.
Very dead.
Oh, you're gonna beat at least.
You gotta shoot back.
Are you gonna pull knots at least? Oh, yeah.
Oh, denied. You had one job, Notzer.
I know.
One job.
He didn't hit the beach?
Almost, just like
I got
10 meters.
That's not
Get the
really
beach,
nice.
nice.
Look at it.
So, map that was designed in the space of 25 minutes and then thrown together overnight by the development team, and while it's definitely rough around the edges, it does seem to do exactly as it was supposed to, and get the battleships into the fight. And as one of the map designers, I was naturally anxious to get the opinions of some of the other players. Not opinions on the map, I don't care what they thought about the map, I wanted to know what they thought of my excellent dad joke.
Fixes in there.
I just want to catch your reactions for this. If you two can sit down so I can catch you both.
Oh, you want a post-game interview?
No, not exactly. I need to test your reactions. I just came up with the world's best dad joke.
Oh, Jesus, no. You don't mind that trying these on me.
Okay, so why does Volgar the Viking sail the Grosse Kur first? Why does Volgar the Viking play the Grosse Kur first?
There is some jokes to be made here, but go ahead.
Because it's a long boat. We have a winner.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. Some people have got no sense of humour. Anyway, there was one other thing that we got to playtest, but aside from the fact that we got to playtest it, I'm really not allowed to say anything else about it. They said that 2018 was going to be the year of the aircraft carrier in World of Warships, and yeah, there's big changes being prototyped for aircraft carriers. Beyond that, though, all I'm really at liberty to say is it's almost certainly not going to be what you're expecting, and it's going to happen when it happens. Don't ask me any further questions, I'm just not allowed to say, but wow, it's, yeah, aircraft carrier changes, coming this year. Anyway, that's enough about World of Warships. What about Saint Petersburg in particular, and Russia in general, because the dev team, well, they're justifiably proud of the city of Saint Petersburg where they work, because it is an absolutely incredible city, and they were very anxious to show it off to us while we were there. We had all kinds of visits arranged, all kinds of fancy places to go and eat and drink. Right now you're looking at the Central Naval Museum in St. Petersburg, which was originally instituted to hold the vast collection of model ships owned by Peter the Great, one of whose many achievements was the founding of the Imperial Russian Navy. Before he could do that, however, they first had to figure out how to actually build modern warships, and in order to do that, Peter and select members of the Imperial Russian court went off to Europe and learned how to build ships the hard way. He learned how to build ships at dockyards in the Netherlands and at the Chatham Royal Dockyards in England. In England he also studied city building techniques which influenced the construction of St. Petersburg itself. It's also claimed by the late great British actor Oliver Reed that while Peter was learning how to build ships at Chatham, that Peter and the various members of his court enjoyed the affections of various ladies of the night, working the dockyard at Chatham, and one of these ladies of the night was Oliver Reed's great-great-great-great-grandmother. He actually claims direct lineage to the Tsar of Russia through his prostitute great-great-great-grandmother. Nobody's been able to ascertain whether or not this claim is true, and they probably never will, but that didn't stop him from claiming it. Oh, hello, what's that I see? Is that that's the white ensign. That one over there seems to be a little the worse for wear. This definitely bears closer investigation. What's going on here?
Right, Mr. Jingles, done colonizing. Look at this.
Okay, you notice how all of the enemies of Russia's flags are battle damaged, except one. Well, okay, there's this little one as well that is just a flesh wound. I can't really complain, of course. I had spent the day before going around the Wargaming Saint Petersburg office, sticking the Union flag on everything that didn't move and colonising it in the name of Queen Elizabeth, so we'll let them get away with that one. Well, anyway, after our first day in St. Petersburg with Wargaming, they took us out to dinner in a pretty impressive location. There's a palace in well, there's more than one palace in St. Petersburg. Seriously, you go along the banks of the Neva River and there's like a palace every half a mile. But one in particular, it was called the Menshikov Palace, and inside this place there's a restaurant called Mein Herz. And they took us to dinner at this restaurant inside the palace. We were greeted with a shot of vodka and horseradish sauce, which was an absolute killer. Luckily they did provide a glass of cranberry juice to take the edge off it afterwards, and then they sat us down to what I think was an 8-course meal. The only problem was that you were expected to drink a vodka toast between each course. Did I mention there were 8 courses? Yeah. What was amusing about it all was that the resident Russian community contributor at our table was a fantastic guy who goes by the name of Turi. I believe he streams World of Warships on, I was going to say Facebook. Well, you could stream on Facebook, I suppose, but he streams on YouTube with his wife, Lenska. And he hates vodka. But, you know, as a Russian at a table full of Europeans and Americans dining in a Russian palace, you kind of feel compelled to lead the toast between each course. So this poor guy, he certainly went for it. And he did the vodka toast between each course. And at the end of every toast, he would slam his glass down and complain that he absolutely hated vodka. Which was, well, it's, I suppose not everybody in Russia has to like vodka. I mean, look at me, I'm an Englishman and I don't really like tea very much. So, yeah, there's that. But St. Petersburg really was incredible. I mean, it was just, like I said, there was a palace every half mile. And I've been around the world a few times. 22 years in the Navy, you get to see a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been to some of the most beautiful cities in the world. Naples, Venice, Paris. None of them can hold a candle to St. Petersburg. It's just an exceptional city on every single level. There are more than 200 museums in St. Petersburg, most of them inside beautiful 17th and 18th century palaces. St. Petersburg has more theatres than any other city in the world. The entire city centre is a World Heritage Site. Even the apartment buildings, they might look grotty and shitty on the inside, but from the outside they all look like palaces. I spent an extra day in St. Petersburg in company with Mr. Conway and Chrysantos of Wargaming, who were also there for a few extra days, and we took in some of the sights and sounds. But I wasn't the only person who spent a few extra days in Russia. Do you remember this guy? You might not know who he is, but I'm going to tell you. This is Euro. This is the guy responsible for the How to Atlanta, How to Scharnhorst videos. This is the guy single-handedly responsible for the torpedo beat meme in World of Warships. Euro spent a couple of extra days in Russia as well, but he didn't do it on purpose. Euro lost his passport. So, yeah, that's all kinds of fun when you're in Russia and you don't have a passport. You see, getting out of Russia is a bit of a problem if you don't have travel documents, particularly since the only place you could get replacement travel documents was the Indonesian embassy, which is in Moscow. Now, I don't know if you've looked at the map, but Moscow's a fair old distance from St. Petersburg, and he couldn't fly there because he didn't have a passport. He also couldn't get on a train because he didn't have a passport, so he was going to have to drive to Moscow from Saint Petersburg. Wargaming, of course, arranged a car for him, and he got into the wrong car. That's right. His car was waiting outside the hotel, and he just jumped into the nearest available taxi, thinking that was it. Do you know how much it costs to drive from St. Petersburg to Moscow? Euro does. It's something like $500. Remember earlier on I told you that nothing went wrong on my visit to Russia or my visit to France because I didn't take Rita with me and she's the source of all of my problems? Well, it's true that the Jingles effect didn't strike me, but that doesn't mean it didn't strike anybody else. So, Euro, I'm really sorry. But rather you than me. Well, anyway, that's almost it, except for one last thing. Do you remember right at the beginning of this video I was showing you the cubicle that I stayed in at Heathrow before flying out to St. Petersburg? The cubicle that cost me £62 a night? Well, for my final day in St. Petersburg, myself, Mr. Conway and Chrysanthus from Wargaming had booked ourselves, at our own expense, into a hotel in St. Petersburg. This was the Deluxe Hotel on Galanaya, which was just around the back of the Russian Admiralty building. At least it was supposed to be. Do you know, when you book something online and it looks really good in a web browser, but then you actually get to the place and you start to think, oh my god, I think I might have made a pretty serious mistake. I mean, where's this so-called hotel? This is just a dead-end courtyard. Hello, Mr. Conway from Wargaming. What's that? Through this armoured steel door? This is the hotel you said we should stay at, is it? Okay. It looks more like the stairs leading down to the cellars of the Lubyanka prison to me, but I'll take your word for it. Hello? Sign there saying it's got an 8.7 rating on TripAdvisor. I'm not feeling too sure about this, Mr. Conway. Security cameras everywhere. Well, there's another sign. It swears there's a hotel up here. There's another armoured steel door. And, oh, right. This'll be our hotel. I'm still not feeling 100% sure about this. What's that? Wait until you see the room. Okay. This is my room then. Doesn't look too bad, I have to admit. Lounge. Kitchen. Cooker. Wow. What's behind this armoured steel door? That would be the whirlpool bath. Yes, really. And that would be the sauna. Remember the cubicle hotel at the beginning of this video at Heathrow Airport that cost me £62 a night? This, in St. Petersburg, this is £52 a night. You know, providing our respective governments don't do anything incredibly stupid in Syria over the course of the next couple of weeks, I could definitely come back here. So, fingers crossed. And that is it for this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.